Hello, Dr. Coet. I know I said I was gonna do. Sorry. I'm not used to taking videos of myself. I know I said I was gonna do a specialized like fighter theme PowerPoint, but in trying to transfer the files, some of the stuff didn't go through. So instead of starting all over from scratch and making a boring PowerPoint, I'll just explain, my whole journey with writing as a whole through video because I don't want to be basic and stuff like that. So the way I got introduced to writing was through reading, and I was caught. I was amazed by how by just simple words and just these long pages going on and on to paint such a beautiful image in your mind. So as a little kid, I thought like writing was like a form of art. Like it puts all these beautiful images, these stories in your head. Like I never finished the whole franchise, but like reading some of the Harry Potter books and think about all like the magic and stuff. And then one of my favorite series, and I know this is the reason why I love the suspense genre so much, was the series of Unfortunate Events. I read all of the 13 books, and then when it eventually came to an on-screen adaptation, I watched it. But I'm not gonna go too much off topic. But like all that stuff and most of the stuff I like was because of what I was given to read, which were all given to me by authors who took their time to write it. Some male, some female. So I just find it amazing how through writing you can create such a legacy like that can instill passion in other people even long past your death. And then in actual education, in my elementary days, writing is simply just a tool of communication. Like you learn your grammar, all this different things, and then that was really it. So at that time, I still really loved writing. Like I remember, I would always ask all my teachers like, who's their favorite author, and things like that. And then sometimes we would have conversations, and then because of that, I always liked writing as a little kid because even if it wasn't for like a story, just knowing about writing and like all the different components of it, I just find it truly amazing that something that like people just use a pencil and they write, but there's so much depth to it. To me, I think that's a wonderful thing, and I could never lose my respect for writing. And one of the other events where writing made an impact in my life was when I got a job at my local library. So essentially the way it worked was there was this internship program going around in Providence where they wanted young youth to like lead little children into like to be like the next generation to like carry themselves up. And in my local library, I would always just hang out there either writing, practicing writing, or just playing chess. And they've known me ever since I was 5, so I'm like a solid member of that library. So they asked me personally. There were other teenagers around Rhode Island who had to do interviews and other things, but my library reached out to me personally, and they said that would you be willing to join the program in helping us lead children? You could use your writing. After all, you love writing so much, you could share your love of writing with them. So that's exactly what I did. I created with the funds they gave me, like the weekly funds to like get supplies. I bought snacks. I bought writing material for them. So I figured, what's a way I could present writing to these kids without completely boring them? Because I know I am not made to be a teacher at all. Either what I say will not make any sense, or I'll just sound really boring. Shoot, even in this video, I don't even know if me explaining my walk through writing even makes sense right now, but I hope it does. So I noticed one thing all these kids have in common. Well, two things. They all like, well, multiple things. They all love comic books. They all love anime. They all love video game. Basically, they just all love like mainstream fiction. And then this was at the same time where we were learning the writing techniques behind debates in English class. So that's in terms of educational writing, I was studying how to like write in the form of like a debate. So I figured I might as well kill two birds with one stone. I could get them to talk about what they like and have them start early on educational writing by teaching them a little bit about debating. So, I went down with it. I taught them how to write in a fashion worthy of a debate. And then instead of them arguing like, oh, this character's better than that character, oh, your character's stupid, I would have them write in the debate fashion of why a character would be another character. I would ask them to bring out the facts. I would ask them to look for the counter arguments in other people's things. And then I know it sounds goofy to have a bunch of little kids talking about stuff like Dragon Ball, Naruto, all this fiction with something as serious as debating. But I figured that was the perfect fusion to make them appreciate writing while still enjoying what they love to talk about. And then at first, I'll be honest, I thought it wasn't going to work. But to my surprise, they loved it. They couldn't wait to go back home and prepare their arguments. Some of them even had my number. They would send pictures of the notes they create. They would ask me, hey, is this a good argument? Is this a good counter argument for Jacob's claim that Goku can do this? Oh, is this, that? Like, these kids were actually using legitimate debate tactics with writing that I taught them to talk about their favorite characters. I created a legitimate fictional debate club that was actually taken serious by the kids. Even some of the older staff members at the library who knew nothing about what they were talking about were just amazed that these kids, who they're so used to being disruptive and yelling a lot, would come together and peacefully debate. And that wouldn't be possible without the writing I learned, the educational debate writing techniques that I learned in class. So some people think that writing is just a simple thing, but no, you can literally apply writing to anything. And I mean anything. I mean, historically, what stops wars? Peace treaties. Someone has to write that peace treaty and convey all the terms and convey all the necessary things to go on it to bring that peace together between two rivaling nations. Sometimes spoken words isn't enough. You have to have something physical in your hand, something written, something stable. And that's another reason why I just appreciate writing, and I've always tried my best to advance my level of writing so I can get all that it can offer. I mean, I'm not trying to become some UN negotiator and try to like stop wars, but I do want to be a doctor. And like I said, well, eventually down the line, once I started college, one of the things that we got really deep into is scientific writing on the basis of research. So as someone who's a pre-med student trying to be a doctor, research writing is going to be super important. I mean, it already is super important for me. There's been many times where I had to look up articles the same way how Dr. Coet, you taught us how to use the Adams Library web search, and I remember we had to do similar things with Google Scholar. So now, because of you, I have an additional way to gain research, and I'm very grateful for that. Dang, my mind went blank. Dang, my mind went completely blank. So essentially, yes. So as a pre-med student, research writing means a lot to me, and I was even thinking as a possibility, down the line, if if my my work let me get to that point, I wouldn't mind being a medical director, being in charge of a hospital. But I know then I'll you need a high skill in writing to help with the management. But I'm prepared to take that leap to get to that level. I even finished my EMT training, so I'm a certified EMT. And then we have to do PCRs, patient care reports, and we have to know exact terminology and all this stuff. So writing's literally everywhere, and it impacts everything. I'm even friends with a well-known, with a aspiring author, and she even does freelance writing on the side. And sometimes she would share like the gigs she would do, like everything down from like the signs on restaurants were all made by like freelancers they hire to like write and like make a catchy slogan. So literally, like, I know they say stuff like money runs the world, but in a weird way, well, not even weird, but in a funny way, writing runs the world too. The heck? Oh. And coming to this class, we got to learn more about rhetoric situations and stuff like that. Before in my writing career, we touched a little bit on rhetoric situations, but for some reason in all my past writing classes, we never really got deep into it, like the whole tone of the message. It was like usually super straightforward and not that deep. I mean, I don't know if that's a bad or a good thing. I mean, I still made it this far, but it's always good to learn. It's always better to learn and focus on what you can get more. So even though the time was short, and sadly, a bunch of stuff with the family came up and I couldn't enjoy all the in-person sessions, but I'm still grateful for what I learned. This class made me open my eyes more, made me realize that not only I already knew writing was deep, but it's even more deep than I think, and how important it is for like the rhetoric and like a contextual situation, because you know what they say, context is everything. So once again, like I said, I would have rather done this through my prepared PowerPoint, but the formatting got all messed up when I tried to transfer it. So, and I didn't want to go, like, I was already catching up, so I didn't want to like start over from scratch. So I figured the fastest way to convey my point was with a video, since the thing said literally anything. But if what I said didn't make sense at all, I sincerely apologize. But that's basically my journey of how I got introduced to writing, how I felt about it, how I experienced it throughout my years, what I learned here, what I learned there, what I learned in this class, and what I plan to use for it in the future. And I know writing will never fail me. It'll always help me when I need it to get to the point and try to wrap things up. So that's pretty much it. And thank you. Goodbye.